I rubbed the back of my neck, thinking about the strategies from our Chapter 4 replay, the Bamboo Daimyo, the Copper Samurai, the Shadow Clone Samurai tactics. All of that knowledge would be invaluable over the next 2 weeks. Questions? Jin asked, looking around. No one spoke. The only sound was the scratch of pens on paper, the tapping of fingers on tablets, and the low hum of servers somewhere deep in the building. Good, Jin said, relaxing slightly. Then get to it. 2 weeks. Grind. Replay. Test. Everything. As everyone stood to leave, I caught Dev's eye. The silent conversation passed between us. We're in this together. No words needed. Outside the conference room, I stretched, the tension in my shoulders easing slightly. Dev linked her arm with mine as we walked back to our pods, and for a brief moment, the grind ahead seemed a little less daunting. The pod sealed, and I re-entered the world exactly where I'd left it, deep beneath the bamboo fortress. The tunnel was quiet now, the remnants of the bronze sentinel fight still etched into the walls, scorch marks, broken tiles, and faint embers from the caltrops I'd scattered. My inventory was heavy with loot, copper armor, bronze naginata, and that strange daimyo tier 2 title I couldn't yet unlock. I adjusted the Oni mask on my face and pulled a mystic flute from my belt. A single low note echoed down the stone corridor. The Shadow Clone Samurai materialized in the tunnel's gloom, standing in silence until I gave the order. Rest, I told them. Their forms dissolved back into nothingness, stored away until I called again. I climbed the last stairwell, the air growing damp and heavy until the underground passage spat me back out near the courtyard ruins. Rain was still falling there, pattering against scorched bamboo stalks, but I didn't linger. My save point was done. Chapter 4 was finished. I brought up the HUD, the world tilting as the chapter map stretched across the screen. My cursor hovered, then I confirmed Chapter 3, the Inferno Guardian. The world dissolved. When it reformed, I was standing on a blackened trail at the edge of a ruined valley. Ash fell like snow. Charred torii gates leaned at broken angles. The sky glowed a molten red, as if the sun itself burned too close. Almost immediately, shadows stirred. Ash-marked Ronin crept out of the haze, Yari gleaming. Behind them, ninjas melted out of the smoke with kunai in hand. Perfect, I muttered, drawing my katana. The first Ronin lunged. I sidestepped, parried with my blade, and drove the point into his chest. He shattered into light, plus 4 stat points. I stopped mid-motion, staring at the HUD. That wasn't supposed to happen. Another enemy came. I cut him down just as quickly. Plus 4 stat points. I hit pause. The world froze, Ash locked in the air like shattered glass. With a sigh, I exited the pod. The lab's glow replaced the Inferno's red light. Dev was the only one there, perched on her stool with her tablet. Her eyes lifted, amused. You lasted, 3 minutes before breaking something, she teased. Not broken, I countered, rubbing my forehead. But I'm getting stat points from fodder now. That's new. Yeah, she said, tilting her screen toward me. It's an update. From here on out, stat points are rewarded after every kill, not just bosses. Righteous Blade pushed it through last night. I leaned against the pod. So the grind really means something now. Dev smiled, small and tired. Exactly. And don't worry, we're logging balance data as you play. Nothing's slipping by. I bent down, kissed her forehead softly, and murmured, "Thanks for the warning. Now get back in there, tester," she said with a laugh. "You've got a daimyo waiting." I slid back inside the pod. The world unpaused. Ash fell once more. Katana drawn, I moved forward through the ruined valley, toward the fortress where the obsidian daimyo, guardian of the Inferno, awaited with his great odachi. Ash crunched under my boots as I moved deeper into the valley. The whole place felt alive, like I was walking through the ribs of something burned long ago. Distant embers glowed in the cracked earth. The first wave came quick. Ronin in half-burned armor, their eyes glowing like embers, charged with Yari raised. I waited until the closest one lunged, then sidestepped and slashed his throat open. Plus 2 stat points. The HUD blinked, crisp and satisfying. It wasn't much, but it was something. I dropped another Ronin with a quick thrust to the gut. Plus 2 stat points. The next one went down to a gauntlet shot, obsidian molten resin splattering his chest and burning through his armor until he crumbled. Plus 3 stat points. I could already feel the weight of it. Each kill added up. Deeper into the valley, smoke twisted and figures rose from it. Ninjas. 6 of them, moving low and fast. They circled, kunai glinting. "All right?" I muttered, slipping my Yumi free. The first arrow loosed. Molten resin crackled across the air, catching one ninja in the chest. He erupted, screamed, and vanished in a burst of ash. +4 stat points. Another darted low, blade sweeping from my leg. I blocked with a katana, spark spraying, then kicked him back into a cluster of caltrops I'd scattered. He stumbled, and I finished him with a downward chop. +3 stat points. One by one they came at me, shadow and steel, feints and lunges. My Oni mask pulsed with each strike, the bloodlust boost whispering in the back of my head. By the time the last ninja collapsed into data shards, I'd racked up another dozen points. I checked the HUD, +22 stat points gained in the last 10 minutes. And I wasn't even halfway through the valley. The ground rumbled ahead. A new enemy stepped through the haze, an ash-encrusted samurai in cracked armor, wielding an odachi as long as I was tall. His stance was wide, deliberate. A minibus. "Let's test this system," I said under my breath. I pulled the mystic flute, one sharp note echoing across the valley. Obsidian and crimson materialized in a shimmer of light, armored and ready. They drew their blades and advanced without hesitation. The Nodachi samurai met them with a roar, swinging in wide arcs that shook the ash from the air. Obsidian parried, crimson countered, and I peppered him from behind with Yumi shots. Each strike shaved his health. The fight was brutal, but it didn't last long. Crimson's katana pierced his gut, and my final molten arrow dropped him to 0. +25 stat points. Rare material drop acquired. I exhaled, lowering my Yumi. Yeah, this changes everything. The valley stretched onward, the fortress faint in the distance, glowing faint orange through the haze. The closer I got, the stronger the enemies would become. And every single one of them was now fuel for me to grow stronger. The grind wasn't just necessary anymore. It was intoxicating. The valley narrowed, ash falling like snow between blackened cliffs. I could feel the game tightening its grip. The enemies weren't fodder anymore. They were hunting me. The first ambush came from above. Black powder muskets cracked, the sound like thunder splitting the haze. Bullets hissed into the dirt at my feet. Crimson and Obsidian surged forward without hesitation, shields of steel and fire, cutting through the Ronin that leapt down from the cliffs. One Ronin lunged at me, musket abandoned for a sickle. Copper was there in a blink, Keketsusho grabbing the man's arm and yanking him clean off his feet. The chain snapped tight, the sickle blade whipped forward, and the Ronin fell screaming, body dissolving into shards. +5 stat points. I raised my hand. Bamboo, eyes on their range. He obeyed instantly, Yumi's string snapping taut. His arrows cut through the smoke, pinning musketeers one by one. Every time a shot lined up on me, Bamboo silenced it with precision. "Good," I muttered, pulling the mystic flute again. Time for the last piece. The bronze sentinel shimmered into existence at my side, armor gleaming in the ashlight, naginata in hand. He leveled the weapon across his body in a stance that spoke of patience and reach. I nodded once, then moved forward. The valley shook again. From the fog, a new figure stepped, massive, plated head to toe in iron brown, wielding dual kanabo spike clubs. Sparks flew when he dragged them across the stone floor. "Miniboss," I hissed. Crimson met him first, katana whistling in the air, but the kanabo came down like meteors. The impact crushed the dirt, shockwaves knocking Crimson back. Obsidian roared in response, Nagamaki slashing deep into the brute's thigh. The monster turned, clubs spinning wide, knocking Bamboo's arrows aside. Copper vaulted past me, chain wrapping around one kanabo, pulling it just enough for Obsidian to land a hit to the chest. -8% health. The brute howled and spun into a frenzy, smashing Copper flat against the rocks. His health bar plummeted. I clenched my teeth and fired a molten resin arrow, flames searing across the brute's face. The bronze sentinel moved in with perfect timing, naginata slicing upward through the brute's arm. One kanabo clattered to the ground, shattered into shards. Crimson finished it, plunging his blade into the open chest. The brute froze, then crumbled into ash. +28 stat points. Loot, Iron Brown Armor, effect, unknown, unlock required, Twin Kanabo, effect, unknown, unlock required. I exhaled, heart pounding. The HUD ticked upward. Every fight was feeding me now. We pressed on, deeper into the valley. The ambushes came in waves. Ninjas using sickles to drag us off balance. Ronin with Yumas firing volleys from the ridgelines. Black powder musketeers hiding in crevices, forcing Bamboo into overdrive to keep me covered. I let Crimson and Obsidian tear through the vanguard, their blades moving like storms. Copper defended my flank, chain weapon whistling in lethal arcs. The Bronze Sentinel held formation, cutting down anyone that tried to slip past. The fights blurred together into a bloody rhythm, every kill punctuated by the satisfying glow. +3, +4, +2, +6. By the time we cleared the last choke point, the HUD pulsed with my new total, +112 stat points gained through the valley. Ahead, the ash thinned, and through the smoke, I saw it. Massive fortress gates carved from obsidian, burning faint red as if the stone itself held fire within. The Obsidian Daimyo's domain. I let my samurai regroup around me, their armor scorched, their health bars lower than I liked. But they were still here, and I was stronger than I'd ever been. The valley was almost quiet now, just the hiss of ash against stone and the faint groan of wind. My HUD ticked steadily from the stat gains of the last wave, but the silence felt wrong. Too wrong. I slowed, raising my Yumi in one hand. Bamboo shifted ahead of me, arrow notched, while Obsidian rolled his shoulders, Nagamaki dripping sparks from where molten resin had burned through his last target. Then they appeared. 3 figures stepped from the haze, armor painted ash gray with streaks of blood red. Their movements were disciplined, unified, too clean to be random fodder. Twin blades, curved like the talons of birds of prey, gleamed at their sides. I froze. They reminded me of the 3 black and red armored samurai I'd fought what felt like lifetimes ago. Shadows of that fight hung heavy over the battlefield. But these weren't those monsters. These were Ronin, and my shadow-cloned samurai were no longer the same weak echoes they once were. Formation, I ordered. Crimson and Obsidian surged forward, blades cutting in mirrored arcs. The Ronin tried to parry, to overwhelm with speed, but my samurai met them stroke for stroke. Bamboo's arrow struck one in the neck, stunning him just long enough for Kappa's chain to wrap tight and slam him into the dirt. The Bronze Sentinel swept his Naginata in a wide arc, clipping the other 2 and forcing them back. I didn't even have to step in. Obsidian's Nagamaki split one from shoulder to hip. Crimson's katana pierced another clean through the chest. Bamboo's second arrow ended the last, dropping him before he could counterstrike. The fight was over in seconds. +14 stat points. Loot, minor crafting materials, gold pouch. I exhaled, lowering my Yumi. Not even close, I muttered half to myself. The comparison lingered, though. The memory of those black and red samurai had weight. These Ronin were nothing but an echo. I stepped past their fading shards of code, boots crunching over the scorched valley floor. My HUD pulsed with fresh gains, and the shadow-cloned samurai regrouped around me, armor dented but spirits high.